Hello guys, Cartoon Retro Boy here, and I have a very hot take I want to talk about in this video, and that is that do I think Band Geeks deserves to be the best episode of the entire show? Oh boy. Okay, so Band Geeks is known for being the most famous episode of SpongeBob in general, and it's kind of overhated. It's no, not overhated. Sorry, no, I meant it's maybe a lot. Maybe a lot of people are just okay. I will admit, actually, guys, if I'm being honest, this might be the most famous episode of the entire show, solely because of how many things it has. Honestly, a lot of characters, a lot of story, has a good song, everything else, like in a Sponge episode. But what do I think of Band Geeks? It's really good, but not one of my. It's not. It's not specifically my favorite episode of season 2. Personally, I know people are gonna be tapping in the comments section like, "What are you talking about? Band Geeks is the best episode of the entire show," and I will admit it's really good. 10 out of 10 for me. But now my favorite episode of season 2. Personally. So let me explain why I actually think Band Geeks is a little bit not my. It's not my favorite episode of SpongeBob in general, because I might do a part 2 video of why I think about my favorite episode of SpongeBob in my opinion. And yeah. So this will be part 1 and I'll do part 2 in the next video. So, Band Geeks. Band Geeks. The episode that is the mother of goodness of SpongeBob episodes. The episode that is the most praised, the most loved, the most shared by, the most considered best episode of any cartoon in general. What do I think of it? So, let's just start off with the plot. The plot is that Squidward tries to get a band, create a whole band, so he can perform at the Bubble Bowl, which is a parody of the Super Bowl anyway. It makes William surprised, who is his rival. This was when the rival started. So while Squidward is trying to set up after a few days, sorry about that. After a few days, well, okay, I'm trying to say it. After a few days, day 1 starts with all the bands coming together, everyone in Bikini Bottom coming together, and Squidward asks them if they know what musical instruments are before. And Patrick has the famous line of, "Is mayonnaise as an instrument?" Which is actually a pretty funny joke, personally. I really like that joke, honestly. Is mayonnaise an instrument? No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either. And Squidward tells them that Squidward says that mayonnaise is not an instrument. This would be debunked by the season 15 episode Upward, which is basically Upturn and Squidward episode that has a ending where Patrick plays an instrument called Mayo. So this episode kind of has been debunked by that episode. That joke has been debunked by that episode from season 15. So that's kind of saying something, guys. Probably the best part of that episode, honestly. Anyway. Another thing about this episode that I feel like people wanted me to talk about is probably the scenes where they play the instruments and practicing. I think these scenes are good. They are pretty good scenes, and I don't mind them. I think my favorite part of the episode is besides the Sweet Victory song, is probably the whole fighting scene. I don't know, it's just chaotic and funny, honestly. Seeing everyone get angry at each other and beating up each other. Like it's like a free for brawl. Funny and chaotic. funny and chaotic mishap happening, honestly. So after the fighting goes, um, yeah, after the fighting goes, Scurry gets upset and that tells them that the whole this is a how this was became a disaster, and that he has this whole like speech about like how he's disappointed in them and how upset he is, and talking about how he's a loser for not being able to not going to be able to perform at the Super Bowl. I mean Bubble Bowl. I meant. And he has this, and Squirt has this like sad saying had said like says to them that don't bother showing up tomorrow, and that he'll tell Squilliam that they just all died in a plane crash or something. I don't know what it's called, what he said actually, and thanks them for nothing. Patrick has the audacity to say "You're welcome," which is kind of mean, honestly. Like, come on, Patrick. But SpongeBob starts to try to get the band together himself, which this is kind of where this is where the episode picks up. Honestly, a lot of picks up. Honestly, also this episode has a reference to Secret Box from season 2, which is neat. But we'll get to that part when we get to there. So SpongeBob try to get the band together after encouraging them, and then he basically, and then at the Bowl, Squirrel's walking and basically sees Squilliam, and was ready to see his band appear and stuff, and how the band is ready to perform. Okay, anyway. There's this really good video online that I have saw. It's called Animation Atrocities Band Geeks, and I actually like that video a lot. And it kind of gives me a Predator retrospective on Band Geeks, honestly, because it's by the YouTuber called Oscar, who's doing a retrospective of SpongeBob on YouTube. He did a video based on Band Geeks, and I will admit to the video, I think I have a better retrospective on Band Geeks, honestly. This is not my favorite It used to be one of my favorites of the show, but honestly, looking back, it's not even my favorite episode of the entire show. Which I know that my top 16 best episodes of the show were not even had any of the first 3 seasons, but the reason why is because I think the older seasons, like the first 3 ones, don't have the wow factor. It doesn't have that much wow factor to those best episodes of those seasons, personally. So, yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't include any of the first 3 seasons. But easily, I think my favorite episode from the pre-movie seasons is probably SpongeBob Meets the Strangler, though. But we'll talk about that episode in another video. Anyways, back to Band Geeks. So Squidward's band. So Squilliam tells Squidward that he's ready to see his band perform, and Squidward's band appears, and was ready to perform, and this is where it leads to the climax of the episode. After reaching inside of the Bubble Bowl, sorry if I said Super Bowl again. Let's see. So it starts off. It starts off with them with the announcer and stuff, which is nice, and then it starts off the climax of this episode. Honestly, which I think this is the most famous part of the episode, the Sweet Victory song. It starts to play, and honestly, I think this song is really nice, but not one of my favorite songs of the show. Actually, probably is one of my favorite songs of the show, even though it's not SpongeBob related. But I do think it's a really good song, though. One of my favorite songs from the show, honestly, that was used, honestly. but not one of my not one of my absolute favorite ones because, like I said, I think Best Day Ever and even Day Like This are better than this one, honestly, if I'm being honest. But that's for another topic, honestly, for my top 10 or top 5 best fun songs of the show, honestly. So we'll do that. I'll do that in the next video. So what do I think? And it ends with Squidward winning in the end. So that's Band Geeks, and what do I think of Band Geeks as a whole, honestly? I know I talked about shortly about this episode, but honestly, I think that it's good enough for 10 minutes long, honestly. And that's basically Band Geeks. So, what do I think of Band Geeks? Sorry if I said that multiple times, but anyway, Band Geeks. I think it's a 10 out of 10, number 5 on my list of season 2. But not one of my favorites of season 2. If you guys want to know what's my favorite episode of season 2 is, I'm going to give you one riddle. It has a sailor and a mouth in it. Yep, you guessed that correctly. It's Sailor Mouth. Yes, I love Sailor Mouth to death, honestly. One of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob in general. But not one of my absolute favorites, because like I said, the top 5 episodes of the show is honestly specials from the later seasons. And I'll talk about my favorite episode of the entire show in the next video, honestly. And I'll do the top 5 best fun songs, of course. But anyway, Band Geeks is a really good episode, guys. I really appreciate how much I love this one, honestly. So many good jokes, so many good laughs. Has a good epic battle scene, sorry, not battle scene, climax, and it overall feels like a good SpongeBob episode, honestly. It's not one of my absolute favorite SpongeBob episodes, but I can definitely say with confidence that this is a great episode that has a lot of good stuff in there, a lot of good jokes, a lot of good humor, a lot of good writing. It absolutely has the best ending for Squidward episodes, honestly. This might actually be my favorite episode when it comes to Squidward episodes, honestly, in this entire series. Honestly. If I'm being honest, this might be my favorite Squidward episode of the entire show. So, yeah. That's saying something, guys, okay? Anyway, I actually. Oh, yeah, back to the secret box reference. SpongeBob in the Sweet Victory song, he's wearing the Best Forever ring that him and Patrick were wearing in in Secret Box episode. So that's very neat, honestly. A good reference to Secret Box. You know, I like Secret Box too, but I think this might be one of the best pair episodes of the entire show. One really good episode and one good episode and one really good episode. So that's like 2 episodes in a row that is really good. That is impressive, honestly. That is dang impressive. Like, it rivals Krusty Towers and Mrs. Puff You're Fired levels of quality, honestly. 2 episodes that are really good in each other. Overall, Band Geeks is a really good episode, and I think I recommend watching it if you're a SpongeBob fan. But like I said, it's not my favorite episode of the entire show, of course. There's so many other episodes I love more than this one, honestly, if I'm being honest. But this is the best Squidward episode of the entire show, though. I will admit that right now, because it literally has all the things that I want in a Squidward episode. Considering Squidward is my favorite character of the entire show, personally, so I love this episode, honestly, guys. Anyway, I know I went on this review. I know this has been a brief review, and I've just been, standing here and stuff like that. But like I said, I don't have much to say on Band Geeks because I feel like a lot of people already said so much on this episode. Honestly, heck, one of my favorite YouTubers, Matt Munchkin, hasn't watched a SpongeBob episode before. At least never got the time to watch one. Which, Matt Munchkin, if you were watching this video, maybe it's a good thing because the show kind of fell off around season 6, and you probably won't enjoy it as much, honestly. And the modern era is kind of a mixed bag, honestly. So you might not be able to enjoy what SpongeBob used to be like. So maybe it's a good thing you never watched SpongeBob. Just saying, Matt Munchkin. Just saying. If I'm being really honest. Because I know you never had the time. You're probably never gonna have the time to watch them, which is probably a good thing because you probably won't like the series after season 6, after season 5, actually. Considering the devil that came upon it, season 6. Sorry if I used that word, but honestly, it describes the whole season in general. Same with season 7, which is the show's most infamous season of the show. And the last, not very good season of the show, season 8. And then, whatever. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, guys? You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure she doubts I'm pretty sure I doubt that she would actually watch this video, honestly. If I'm being honest. But, anyway, I think that's really it, actually, for Band Geeks. I'll talk about my favorite episode of SpongeBob in general in the next video, because it's a half-hour special, and it's the 25th, it's not 25th, it's the 20th anniversary special from season 12. So it's our season 12 episode, actually, guys, and it's also in HD, and it also has Patchy segments. And it's also Patchy's only appearance in season 12 overall. So, get ready to me talk about it's also on the, let me show the DVD. It's on this DVD, Bikini Bottom Bash. And it's also all themed about birthdays and stuff. So, the episode I'll be talking about next on this channel is Big Birthday Blowout, which is my favorite episode of SpongeBob in general. And I'll explain why I love this special so much in the next video. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Cartoon Retro Boys out.